It's all good. It's all good. She got it.
Okay.
We're good.
Is it on?
Mm-hmm. It's on, right?
Hello and welcome. Welcome to Empire 696. This is your host Rose for this evening. We are going to watch some major stupidity brought to you by one Chili DeCastro. Oh great, attacking another woman.
People sent me information about Allison Deep. It's Allison Dale Burroughs. And so this is her ballot.
And again, doxing when he said he wasn't.
So I want to go over a few of these
That we were done with this.
in some pretty significant detail. If you guys would hit the like button. And then this is her confirmation or questionnaire from the Senate. And so we're going to go over her questions. And she's in Waltham, Massachusetts. This is public information that you can get on the internet. You know, obviously, I want to do an investigation on her.
So he's learned how to use Google.
So we can know what she actually stands for.
Can we get this information correctly?
I always want to repeat.
Maybe once?
Nonviolent person. I call for nonviolence through peace, legislation, petitioning, assembling, and suing. Sue the government as many times as you can because the government sucks. Sue their asses off until we get the change that we want. And so I have no bones about exposing everything I can about Allison Dale Burroughs. But I think the funniest part for me, and then to a couple guys, Jeff and, I'm sorry, I was so fired up last live. I'm a human being, and let me turn this off. Let me turn off my Bluetooth.
Because we couldn't tell he was human.
I turned off the Bluetooth so you guys should be able to. Bruce, what is going on, Playboy? What's going on with the rabbit? And so I'm just going to make sure I get all the information that I was sent. Where was I screenshotting that from?
It's not working.
I'm going to have to airdrop a document from this phone to here. I got all my aggression out on the last one, so this one's going to be a little more calm and reserved. I realize I get fired up, and I'm not sorry. I know sometimes I got to pull it back a little bit to get my point across better. So I didn't even watch back the last live. I just know how fired up I was.
Because that doesn't take much to get him fired up.
So I just want to do what I can here to try to show you who this person is who's been just being horrible to me. She's a giant copsucker. Like, she's a gigantic
Look how
copsucker.
hurt his feelings are for not winning anything.
Awards for years. If you go to my channel, I don't respect pigs. I think 95% are scum. And she's getting awards from pigs. I mean, yeah, no problem, Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
Aw, that sounds like he's hurt that she gets awards and he
You
doesn't.
just have your opinion, and that's fine. Good to see you. Good to see you, Dan Fizzle. Yeah, 99% of cops are scum. I'm sorry. If you're a pigger and you signed up and you don't have YouTube and you don't see how pigs are treating people, well, why would you join that? Why would you join that? There's a movement going on right now to get rid of torture cups. Why would you do that? Let me just show you. Yeah, my blood pressure is actually pretty good. My blood pressure was measuring pretty normal last week. I haven't checked it this week, but my blood pressure.
Until he gets more rage news.
I think the point when I do watch the videos back
Or someone says they want to legally fight him, then all of a sudden that pressure rises.
It's all the way, dude. I can't stand most cops. Sorry.
Oh, trust me, they can't stand you either.
I've met some cool cops, man. You guys remember that cop in Oklahoma? There was 2 cops in Oklahoma that were pretty cool. There was a pretty cool cop in Denver that I met. That was a pretty cool guy. There was a pretty cool cop in Arizona who did a welfare check when I was asleep in my car. I've met a few cool cops, but they're the anomaly. And by the way, my friend who is the ex-cop who downloaded all that information to me when I was in Colombia, when people started calling me a liar in the comments, he called me and said, I want you to release the audio. I actually have to change his voice because I don't want him to get hurt. And he told me that police are retaliating.
So protect their friends, but then dox everyone else. Oh, and feel free to screenshot that. Again, perfect meme face.
Big group of pigs. And so I don't want my friend to get hurt. So I'm actually taking, I can show you guys the audio. It's all cut up. It's all ready to go. I just got to change the voice a little bit. Hit the like button. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. I'm gonna hit
You
the
heard
like
him,
button.
folks.
Just hit the
Hit that like button, because he can't say button.
Tappy. Everybody likes a little tap, tap, tappy. Just tap, tap, tappy.
We know you do,
Or
Chili.
You soak and tap, tap, tappy. But it is what it is. Just do me a favor and hit the like button. If you'd hit the like button, if you would, please. Thank you. That means a lot. Let me do one more airdrop from my phone because a bunch of you guys sent me in information. I really.
Could we even have 5 minutes of one of his streams where it doesn't immediately go to cringe? No? Again, memeable face right there. Every time you pause it.
Appreciate it. So let me just. I have one more document to airdrop from this phone. I'll be right back. Where was that? Chevy V. Boyer. Bruce is in the room. What's going on, you guys? Where was that? I think that was from my friends JNS. I think that was from them. I think they sent that to me. Let me see.
Okay, doesn't have his stuff ready. Big surprise
Let me
there.
make sure I have this one last document. Oh, you did? Yum yum. How did your shoulder surgery go? Yum yum had
And he just completely doxed his moderator.
shoulder surgery. Yeah, but Gloria, that's just the way it is. It's a tough thing. Okay, where is that? It's just gonna bug the snot out of me. Give me 15 seconds. Let me find a state document. Yep. Okay. So,
And he's laggy. So say, folks, that was not my end. That was definitely his.
So this was her Senate. This is Allison Burroughs. This is her Senate confirmation hearing for the questionnaire. She states her full name. She puts her office in here. Stated the position for which she was nominated for United States District Judge for Massachusetts. This is where her office is, and that's where her in Weyburn, Massachusetts. This is all public knowledge. State her year of her birth, 1961 in Massachusetts. Oh shoot. And then it says list in reverse chronological order each of the college degrees. There was somebody who sent me a list of all the awards that Allison D. Burroughs was given. Does someone have that list of? Am I okay here? Can you?
Is he going to name off the accomplishments of a strong woman? Because he's never going to be there.
You guys see me? This broadcast seems a little scattered to me, to be honest. Frustrated because I don't have everything in order here. But I didn't plan on doing this. I'm just tired of getting cheated by this chick. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of her.
His definition of being cheated means constantly losing because he can never admit he's wrong.
Her ruling on motions that the opposition doesn't reply to. Look, it's kind of funny because the opposition really touted that I said that I was really going to file motion after motion after motion, and I am. The motions are not frivolous. I have every right to file them. I warned the opposition that if you didn't leave me alone, I would sue you eventually, and now I am.
I will sue you if you don't leave me alone, but I will completely make up everything in my lawsuit with no proof to back it up. Yeah, that sounds legit. She should totally listen to you, Chili.
And I said that I would file motion after motion. It would cost you a lot of money. And it is. And I'm going to continue. I'm not going to stop. My motions are not frivolous. I have, just like I said, remember your First Amendment. RAPS, R-A-P-P-S, religion, assembly, petition. Petition is motion. You have a right to motion for justice. And that's what I'm doing. I told the opposition that I would break them and I would continue to go after them until I broke them financially.
And threatening them does not make a valid case, Chili.
Which is what I'm doing. I'm keeping my word, and it's within the boundaries of the law. It's my right to be able to petition when I want to know information, or I want to go after someone because I feel like they violated my rights.
Which is pretty much telling you when you're wrong. It's not a violation of rights. It means you have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
So that's what I'm doing. Burroughs, what she's doing is ruling against my motions before the opposition has a chance to reply. And what I want is I want to hammer her. I want to bill her. That's what I want to do. So that's what I'm doing. Ultimately, I'm suing and I want to win money. But I can't do that if Allison D. Burroughs is unjust. Does anybody have
There are other ways to make money, Chili. Maybe get up and get a job. A real one. Not a lol suit.
that document? Does anybody have that document? Where was that document that showed the list of the awards that she got from the FBI and from the... I'll just look it up.
This probably would have been wise to have before you started streaming. You know, open multiple windows, have all your research presentable right then and there. Oh wait, that's something somebody intelligent would do. Yeah, never mind, Chili, that doesn't apply to you.
She won all these awards for the... Where was that? I think, was that my friends who sent that to me? That's the one I want to go over first. That's the one I wanted to go over first. I wanted to go over these ones because... So we'll just go over this first and then I'll get to those. But if you guys didn't see these on the community tab, I want to show you something. You know what I can do? I can just take these exact words, copy and paste them into Google, and then take a look at the articles that pop up. Hey, Tennessee Accountability,
And still get the information wrong.
what's going on? So let me just type this in. Okay, so there's that one. But these cop-sucking awards she gets. Boston Police Detective. So type this into Google and send me that link. On the Boston Police Detective Benevolent Society Award of Excellence. She wins this award. I put this on the community tab. So she wins this award here, but if someone could find this document, I think it might be even in Wikipedia. Maybe it's in Wikipedia. And then she doesn't just win that award, she wins plenty of awards for supporting the war on drugs and supporting police.
I love how he's so quick to point out all of her accomplishments. It's almost like he's angry he's never going to be there. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chili, you're going down in the world dumbest book, definitely.
She remember, so when you win an award from the Boston Police Detectives Benevolent Fund, there might be a banquet and a fundraiser for you, and there's good press for you where you take...
Oh, and here we go. Here's the real reason he's mad. There will be a fundraiser for her. She'll be able to make money. Well, at least if he knew how this worked. It wouldn't go to her. It would go to whatever organization hosts it. But the fact that somebody can make money and he can't absolutely sets him off.
Pictures, and Allison's taking pictures with pigs, and look at me supporting pigs, and look at me arm in arm with pigs, and so she gets an award, and when you go to that, you know, then you're rubbing elbows with the lieutenant and the commander and the major, and so Allison, you know, by the way, you know, I it is what it is, but now she feels like she's one of the boys, and she's not. She never will be. So, I think it's on her Wikipedia. So.
Yeah, that's not how judges work. They don't just get up there and say, oh, hey, now I'm one of the boys. I can judge however I want to. No. Chili, you rub elbows with people who you think you're buddies with. And what do? They turn around and call you a moron behind your back.
I'm just gonna go. I think it's gonna pop up on her Wikipedia actually, where she wins all these awards from pigs. Oh, great picture, Allison. So this is her Wikipedia page. There's the judge right there. She's a raging liberal, appointed by Obama in 2014. Raging liberal. I'm talking, to be appointed by Barack Obama, you know what I'm saying? Chris, I'm always looking for more information. I want her to understand what it's like when thousands of people look you up and investigate you. I want her to know what that feels like. Oh, I guess
Being that it's public information, she would already know this.
she's already been through it because she's a politician, essentially. Remember, she works for the Democratic Party. Now, listen, whether you guys like that or not, that's the way it is. Every president who appoints a federal judge, every president who appoints a Supreme Court justice, I don't call them that, I call them Supreme Court personnel, they work for that party. They work for the liberals or the conservatives or the pro-lifers or the against the gun lobby or for the gun lobby. Every time that someone is appointed, then they have this allegiance to that particular. Now, there's been people who have betrayed. There's been people who have gone against that at the Supreme Court. Who was the big disappointment for the conservative? I don't want to get lost. So,
Too late, Chili. Way too late. You veered way off course. In life, in social status, and definitely with your YouTube.
So now I want to get down to where we get to these awards here. Where were the awards? God bless it. Where were those awards? Where she won the Boston Police. But let's just read her. It says, Burroughs was born in 1961 in Boston, Massachusetts. She received a Bachelor of Arts cum laude from Middlebury College. Well, you know what? So now I want to play a game with you guys. This is how I do research. So now I'm going to research Middlebury College and take a look at what the value is of Middlebury College.
And how does this matter? She has a good education, a good job, neither of which you have, and has been proven on multiple occasions that all of your education achievements, according to you, have been false. So let's get back to pointing out a successful woman's.
Expenses is it to go to Middlebury College? Is that they have a $1.5 billion endowment. So here it is. So would this be a rich person's college? If you scroll down here, 1800, established in 1800, 222 years ago, $1.5 billion endowment. They got 1.5. What?
And what does a college endowment have to do with her? If she could afford a great college to get into, so what? That's her prerogative. She chose that college. If you had went to college, you would know these things, Chili. And I'm sure if you studied law, you would get more right than you do wrong.
President Lori Patton. Okay, so now let me go like this, and I want you guys to join me in doing this. Get your computer open, and let's say Middlebury College. How much is Middlebury College per semester? I just want to see if she's a rich, white, entitled, white liberal. Did I say white twice? Because so far, it is what it is, but I just want to know how much it is. How much does it cost? $62,000. Gotcha. That's who you are, honey. That's who.
Got you what? She went to college. It was paid for, obviously. She didn't cheat on an exam to get in. Unlike some unmentionable people. She didn't buy her way in. No, she paid for her education. So what is the gotcha? There's nothing there, Chili.
You are. So you are an entitled liberal from the Upper East Side.
She's entitled because she can afford an education. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, Chili. Maybe if you would have gotten a job, you could have afforded to go to college. You could have had a better education.
$62,000 to go to Middlebury. Wow. Good for Allison. Allison, you must have a hell of a good upbringing. God bless you, honey. I mean, if she watches this, but she wouldn't watch my videos, would she? Okay, so
I'm pretty sure before her case, she had no idea who you were, Chili. The woman has way too much to do than sit on YouTube and watch your videos. And honestly, she might lose the education she's already gained by watching your videos. So no, she's probably not watching your videos, Chili.
there's that. And let's keep reading on here a little bit more about Allison D. Burroughs. So let me read it to you guys again how it should read. Biography. Born in 61 to super rich elitists in the Upper East America. She got a bachelor's of arts from a super entitled rich yuppie college. Am I wrong? She received a Juris Doctorate cum laude in 1968 from the University of Pennsylvania Law School. How much is University of Pennsylvania Law School?
None of this matters, Chili. None of it.
I'm going to leave that tab open.
I'm really starting to believe that he's just severely pissed off that somebody could afford to do everything she's done.
I'm going to open another tab. Cost of University of Pennsylvania Law School. Let's just find out about Allison. Tuition. How much is law at UPenn? $67,000 a year. So her parents are putting out like $100,000 a year. Total is $100,000 a year to go to college.
That's a bold assumption. It may not have had anything to do with her parents. She could have gotten a student loan, Chili. You don't know. You don't ask legitimate questions. You assume, look up, and put two and two together. In your mind is never the correct answer. But let's continue this spiral of stupid.
To go to college. Matt, I'm an investigative journalist. I'm investigating the judge who's ruled against all of my motions when she ruled exactly for the exact motion that we just submitted 2 days ago. We submitted the exact motion she approved 2 years ago. I'm investigating this person to find out what her bias could be against me, a conservative who's for wiping away all gun rights and for strong borders. We don't agree on everything, but I'm also pro-choice, so all the conservatives can like, oh, or all the fake pro-lifers like, oh, he's pro-choice. Yeah, I'm pro-choice, and I'm pro-Brittany Reiner coming home. So I'm not stupid. I'm just conservative in the values I have from my upbringing. And it's not what I chose. It is what it is. I am what I am. So
A huge heaping pile of stupid. We know this, Chili.
So then as we continue down here, it says, super entitled white woman from Boston. Let me turn off the comments here so I
Let's just keep displaying how racist you are.
can read. Sorry, guys. So it says, she began her legal career as a law clerk for Judge Norman Shapiro of the United States District Court of Eastern Pennsylvania from 1989 and 88 to 89. See, this is the thing I'm trying to show you guys right now. The way I do research for this is the same way I do research when I'm researching history. So now what I do is I go to the judge that she clerked for, Norma.
And we all know, fans, how he researches history.
So she also was she's a woman during the woman empowerment era, because that judge is going to be a judge in the 80s. That's what's going to happen here. So Norma Levy Shapiro, who's she appointed by here? So she's she's this chick. Now here's Norma. Okay, now she's dyed in the wool. So this is how liberal this woman is that's presiding over my case. This woman was also appointed by Jimmy Carter. So
None of this matters, Chili. This does not have any effect on her judgment or rulings. It has no effect on you whatsoever, except for the fact it just shows you have no idea what you're talking about, and you will always lose.
this president appointed the woman who she clerked for. Allison was appointed by Barack Obama. Then she went to this super entitled.
Didn't he just say they were both appointed by Jimmy Carter? Let's rewind that a little bit.
Right here. So she's okay. So she's this chick. Now here's Norma. Okay. Now she's dyed in the wool. So this is how liberal this woman is that's presiding over my case. This woman was also appointed by Jimmy Carter.
And again, there's that also appointed by Jimmy Carter. Yet you just pointed out and showed that she was appointed, according to you, by Obama. Which is it, Chili? Again, the information's right there, written in front of you, and you still managed to screw it up.
So this president appointed the woman who she clerked for. Allison was appointed by Barack Obama. Then she went to this super entitled college where it cost tons and tons of money. And so that means Norma plugged her in to the elite power brokers of Washington, D.C. That's what happened. Because remember, if she's in office 78 to 98, even when Norma was going to law school, just so you guys know, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's true, she probably got picked on by men and treated bad because we were such a male chauvinist society.
Were, Chili? You're proving that they're still out there.
Back then. I mean, you know, if you really want to go into to research history and understand, you know, women didn't even get the right to vote till 1920 with the 19th Amendment. So, you know, when Norma was going to college, she was probably picked on a lot and bullied a lot just because she was a woman getting a law degree. And so, you know, I don't agree with that kind of stuff.
And you don't agree with it, but here you are doing it.
So that means that she had to align really strongly with a particular kind of ideology to survive that. And so the ideology she survived that with. And remember, if Jimmy Carter is appointing Norma, well, let's just keep reading a little bit further. So this is Norma's biography, and Shapiro received a Bachelor of Arts degree, Order of Coit. She's clerked for George Horace Stern of the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. So Norma here, she clerked for Judge Horace of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. So now you go down and you take.
And this has what all to do with your case, Chili? As usual, nothing.
You look at and you see who Mr. Horace was, and you find out what he was about. I should have done this beginning, but I had the idea that at federal court the laws would mean something, and a miscarriage of justice would be categorized as such, and in the interest of justice I would be treated fairly, and I don't feel like I'm being treated fairly.
Of course not, because everybody's disagreeing with you.
So now let's take a look at Judge Horace. Succeeded by, he's Norman, not much information. It doesn't say who appointed him. Having served, let's just take a look at this real quick. So, the Chief Justice, Principal Supreme, so he was Chief Justice. So Norma clerked for the Chief Justice of the, again, remember where we are, we're in the upper East America, in Northeast America, with these supremely yuppie liberals. And so everything's coming out of the Northeast. So, born to a Jewish family in Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania, UPenn. So I wonder, he went to UPenn Law, right? And he was the one that Norma clerked for. So now let's take a look at Norma here and see education and career, Philadelphia, UPenn. You went to UPenn too?
It has nothing to do with, perhaps this is the state that they lived in. Usually people would go to college in the state they live in unless they choose to travel outside and then go to a college that would be outside of their state. So none of this, the fact that they share a school or a university or even the same districts, it has nothing to do with why you are losing your case. So you are needlessly doxing every single person you're pointing out. Good going.
And then when you go to Allison D. Burroughs, you're going to go federal biography, UPenn. She went to UPenn as well. So what you're talking about is a long history of power colluding on top of power. And
Because they went to the same college, Chili? It's power colluding power. Come on, buddy. You could do better than that.
of course, Judge Burroughs isn't afraid of my appeal or anything I can do to her, because when I appeal the case, which eventually that will happen, when I appeal the case when she rules against me, then it's going to be one of her judges. And then what you have to find out on the appeals because when we appeal, it goes to multiple judges.
No, she doesn't mind if you appeal, Chili. She'll never mind if you appeal, because you're doing it wrong.
It goes to a judge panel, and then that judge panel will make a determination. But as you can see, they all may be looped in together. So we have to take a look at that judges panel and see where those judges are affiliated from. Because remember, there's this thing called alumni when you have a proper upbringing.
Come on, you can get it out. Come on. You know what you're trying to say. Let's manage to get that brain into working to push it out your mouth, where it's not bullshit.
With two parents, and they send you to $100,000 a year school, there's this thing called an alumni association. So what we're seeing here is this alumni association from UPenn so far has got one judge on the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, and then got that female judge Norma in 1978, which was probably really hard to do. And then they got the judge Allison D. Burroughs appointed by Obama. And remember, these people are not being appointed by nobodies. I mean, she's being appointed by Barack Obama, and Norma is being appointed by Jimmy Carter. So that's the definition of statism. When
No, it's not, Chili. And again, you screwed it up.
powers colluded together from one source in a centralized location, that's called statism. And that's what you guys are seeing. This is literally statism. That's what it looks like to me. So now let's keep reading a little bit more and see how much further down. So now we know that this is a very Northeast liberal yuppie community of people who are stacked on top of each other for generations. And they're all going to see my video like, oh my God, woe is he talking about Allison as though she's being unjust to him. Yeah, that's what I feel like. And
But what you feel like isn't correct. It does not mean that it is a law or that you should win. And you need to tell the difference between the two. Just because your feels are hurt does not mean you get to win your case, Chili. Another memeable face for you. Feel free to screenshot.
reporter, so I'm reporting to my people that I feel like she's being unjust. I feel like this is a miscarriage of justice. Ruling against every motion, writing these things to me that are like trying to smack me down like I'm a fly, like I don't matter. You know, I wonder if Allison understands that in today's world, we get to just share and broadcast everything. You can write the stuff you're writing to me. You or the clerk, Caitlin McManus, the Allison Burroughs or Caitlin McManus can write these things. However, I can broadcast what you write and what you say. I just can't film in the courtroom. And why? Anybody? Let me turn the chat on real quick. Put a 1 in the chat if you think we can't. Put a 1 in the chat if you can't. If you think we can't film in the courtroom because they're trying to hide things. Just put a 1 in the chat if you think that. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that you can't film your trial because they're trying to.
Let's borrow a little from Skeptic here, because we all know Chili stole this. You put a 1 in the chat if you think he screwed this up yet again.
Cheat you. Why can't you record it? Why can't I plug in my audio recorder and then be willing to be subjected to certain things being omitted, people's names, people's date of births, and things like that? Why can't I? How come I can't bring my recorder in the courtroom? And Allison D. Burroughs is going to be now subjected to 2022 media. Allison, I want anybody who has information about Allison D. Burroughs, especially enemies of her that she created along the road, especially conservatives. I'm sure she cheated conservatives. I would bet my right hand to God that she did the same thing to conservatives.
Please don't pledge to God. He doesn't need that much pressure.
Because I hate cops. I don't like cops. I don't respect cops. I've been very open about it. I'm nice to some of them if they're nice to me. You joined the Death Star. I don't respect you for doing it. Somebody's got to do it. Doesn't have to be you. It takes a good man to do that, to put torture cuffs on another person. So I believe, what I think is this journalist right here with 800 videos, I believe Allison D. Burroughs is watching my videos. She sees that I hate cops. I think they're scum. And she's ruling against me constantly. That's what I think. So that's my position. Am I allowed to say it, or am I going to get a U.S. Code 18?
He has no idea what that even is. None.
Is that what's going to happen to me? I've done something. I've said that I feel like I'm being treated poorly, that I'm not getting justice. Oh man, let's keep researching more about Allison D. Burroughs. Did someone find that where they?
Says the person who says he has an opinion and his opinion is valid, but sues everybody else for theirs. Good going, Chili. Keep showing how much of a hypocrite you are.
Where they? I want film in the courtroom 100%. That's one of the missions of Delete Laws. You know, so. Everybody hit the like button, please. Everybody hit the, there's 250 people in here, 50 likes. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Ooh, let me report that.
Oh look, somebody has a different opinion than me. Let's report it. Somebody might actually be putting factual information in my chat. Let's report it. Ew.
You know what I'm...
Please, Chili, we don't need to be subjected to your tongue hanging out your mouth. It's enough that we have to deal with your stupid.
I'm not going to report it because I don't know. I can't keep up with the comments because I don't read them most of the time, so I'm not going to...
Well, we all know that's a lie because you managed to block and report everybody who has a different opinion than yours.
Block or report anybody, let the mods do what they're doing. So now we know Allison is deeply involved with an extraordinarily liberal faction that she's been engulfed in for 100 years. And so now did someone find that? Because I want to, Deanna, how are you? Good to see you. I want to see what they put here for...
Oh, geez. More typing.
Boston Police Detective Award. Someone sent that to me earlier, and I can't seem to find that document again, and I'm looking for it. Is that one?
Feel free to put that 69 in the chat if you were pretty sure he's going to lose more documents while this stream is going.
Where it is? It's bugging me so bad that I just have to know. I just have to know. I want to know her biography. I want to know more about her biography, and I want to know more about the things that she's done as far as getting awards from cops.
I want to learn more about her accomplishments and cry in my pillow at night because I'll never get any.
And someone sent that to me. If someone could resend that to me again, please. She won a bunch of awards from cops, from the FBI, from... Where was that? Let me text my friend Tina. Hey, where was that document that had the FBI and the Boston Police Department awards in it? I know it, but I don't want to do it when I got a bunch of people online. I hate to be distracted in any way. I want to just talk with you guys, and
He's been distracted this entire stream looking up stuff he should have had prepared. Good going.
You know, earlier when I was talking about Tommy's case, I was just so incensed that this woman, Piggy Daniels, that she was so...
Well, that took a good 30 seconds for him to think up.
Proud that I could pull my gun whenever I want, and I had been thinking about it and burning on it. And then, you know, we don't feel like we can get justice in this courtroom. So...
You'll never get justice in the courtroom because you're doing it wrong, Chili.
let me try to list Allison D. Awards. There is, I'm on a Wikipedia page. Let me see. It doesn't list all the awards. And there was somewhere where it had a list. Is that where it is? Is it on Ballotpedia? Is that where it is? Let me see. If it's on, it is on Ballotpedia. Okay, so here this is. Thanks a lot. So now this is on Ballotpedia, and this is regarding Allison Dale Burroughs. And I want you guys to take a look, and I'm going to go back to 93 here, okay? FBI plaque in recognition outstanding prosecutor support in FBI task force investigations. What? Of the junior black mafia? You know, I'm not sure if people know this or not, but the people that I'm suing call themselves a mafia as well.
Which has nothing to do with each other, Chili. Nothing to do with each other. You can't take a word here and take a word here because it's the same word, put those two together and say, it's the same place. It's not. It never will be. And some point in time in your life, you need to learn this.
And Allison D. Burroughs is being completely unfair as far as I'm concerned. So, and then it says here, 1995, let me turn these comments off real quick, I can't see the comments. 1995, FBI and IRS plaque for dedication of outstanding service in Cash Unlimited investigation. So far, she's in bed with the FBI, and she's getting awards by the FBI and the IRS, two enemies of the people. These folks are not, they don't help us. There's all kinds of people who
Show us you're a sovereign citizen without telling us you're a sovereign citizen there, Chili.
have cross-state criminal things going on. The FBI's not helping any of us. The IRS, Biden just got 75,000. And by the way, it's not just Biden, it's all the presidents. They're all terrible. But Biden just appointed like 78,000 new IRS agents. And not just any, these are militarized. 1997, Organized Crime Enforcement Task and Appreciation of Outstanding. So, do you guys know the number one organized criminal group in America is police? And you can read the Wickersham Commission. It's on my website for free. And it says that the first gang in America were organized alcohol swindlers that were cops. So, the organized crime in America, and let me just talk on this for a minute. While Allison D. Burroughs is a giant copsucker you can see from the awards here yourself. The police are the number one gang in America. They're the number one drug dealers. They're the number one pimps. They're the number one gambling group. They're the number one extortionist lobbyists. They're the number one of everything when it comes to criminal enterprise. It's ran by cops.
Chili, stop making up statistics. As of everything in life, you fail at it.
80s, when they were trying to break up the Crips and the Bloods, eventually they found out that the head of one of those gangs was a cop. The police are the head of every single organized crime in America, every one of them. Even from the big TERRORISM. The FBI was complicit in J6. They were involved in J6. The FBI, the one that she's winning awards from. She's a play ball kind of person from what I can see. So then it says here, New England, Certificate of Appreciation for prosecuting people for drugs. 1997, let's talk about Allison D. Burroughs, Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task. Secret Service Certificate of Appreciation. Remember, the person she clerked under was appointed by Jimmy Carter, so even back in 98, when she's a prosecutor, she's getting appreciation from the Secret Service. It's pretty crazy how connected this power is. I wouldn't be surprised if she's connected to people who go to the Bilderberg Group. So now I want to talk about something here. In 1997, she won an award from the Drug Enforcement Agency for her outstanding work. Okay, so let's just play that back now, because now it's 2022. Most people who were sentenced by her in
Well, hey, look, he got one thing right. He got the year right. I'm shocked.
1997 for drugs. It's 2022 now, so that's 25 years. So, my dad was in prison for 20 years for being a cocaine dealer from Colombia. That's a fact. And I've never hid it. I'm never going to hide it.
No, you openly brag about it like it's some award to put on display. Good going.
I don't care. I didn't know my father till I became an adult. And but let me ask you a question. Now the people who Allison D. Burroughs sentenced to prison in 1997, where she got an award from the DEA, how much better is the drug problem? How much better is it? Put a 1 in the chat if the drug problem's never been worse. Put a 1 in the chat if the number one killer of mankind right now in the United States of America is drugs. Put a 1 in the chat if the drug problem's never been at its highest. Put a 1 in the chat if you had a friend die from fentanyl this year, because there was fentanyl in the cocaine in Hollywood. And if you know someone who died this year, her name was Casey, and I loved her. So, since she got an award in 1997, all the people that she put in prison in 1997,
This idiot. It's not the number one killer. Yes, it's higher if you look from statistics to year. It is also because the population has grown. Whenever the population grows, yes, can't talk. The statistic will grow. That's just basic knowledge, Chili.
they got out of prison. How much better is their lives? Did that create a drag on society? Put a 1 in the chat if that put a drag on society, locking up all those people from 1997. And put a 1 in the chat if locking up all those people in 1997 did no good. Put a 1 in the chat if locking up all the people where Allison's winning awards for being a prosecutor, if all the work she did is an actual negative contribution to the United States of America.
Again, very untrue. If they hadn't gone to jail, it's a wake-up call for a lot of them. Then they get help, be rehab, or whatever help they get. They can get better. If you did not put them in jail, there would be twice as many deaths, maybe even more than that, because it would continue to spread, never ending. It's hard enough as it is to catch everybody that spreads it.
Put a 1 in the chat if Allison D. Burroughs helped destroy this country by locking up people for drugs. Put a 1 in the chat.
Absolutely, Oleg. It is very much heart disease is the number one. And I'm sure with a lot of other problems that can be said, it's a valid statistic in what he's trying to point out, that drug use is a problem. It would also be a problem if it was left unchecked. And I know he doesn't realize this because, again, it would take some intelligence to think of that.
Take a look. Let me turn my chat on. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Sentencing people to prison for drugs, Allison D. Burroughs, if you do have the chance to look at this video, which maybe you do, you ruined our country by
Or proper research, indeed.
locking up people, by endorsing the war on drugs, by winning awards from the FBI, by the DEA. When I'm in power, when I'm governor of a state, which, oh man, the powers that be, all those people, all those alumni, all those associations of people are going, oh man, this guy's going to run for governor? We can't let him win. People say to me, are you afraid that you're going to be assassinated? When I run for governor is when I'll actually have a legitimate fear. When I'm going into power and I'm going to abolish the DEA in the state that I represent, at that point, that's when I'll have a legitimate fear, because the DEA
It will never, ever happen, Chili.
is the worst agency in the United States of America. Put a 1 in the chat if you support. Put a 1 in the chat if you are against the DEA. If you think the DEA has ruined our country, put a 1 in the chat if you think the DEA is a degradation, a downgrading, dismal, disgusting, murderous organization. They are. So
He only hates them because he got caught doing his own bad.
most people are putting 1s if Allison D. Burroughs ever takes a look at this. So she helped ruin our country. Director Award for Superior Performance, Assistant U.S. Attorney. Who knows what that was for?
It pretty much says it right there.
Let me see here. Okay, now I can read this again. Sorry, I had to hide the chat. Boston Police Detective Benevolent Society. Didn't I go to Boston and say that cops might rape your children later? Didn't I do that? I did do that, right? I mean, I don't think it was necessarily right to do it in that moment. I wouldn't do that again.
Well, again, it's a running thing with him about ruining women's lives. It's really something that he thinks he excels at when he can actually get the information correct.
But I wasn't lying. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this woman is biased against me.
And honestly, he doesn't care about whose life he ruins so long as it's not him. Because Chili only looks out for himself. And he's proven that on multiple occasions.
Because she supports the Boston Police Department, and I went there, and this is the Boston Police Detective Benevolent Society. So she's getting cop sucking awards 20 years ago, 21 years ago. That's what's going on with Allison. I'm just saying. And I don't like cops, and I never have. And so now, United States Secret Service certificate. So why is she getting Secret Service certificates and awards? In recognition of all your effort. This is a primer, guys. This is 20 years ago. They're priming her so that she can be appointed a federal judge by Obama. This is a priming, and this goes back, remember, it's not just Allison, it goes back to Norma.
Did he seriously say that? No, because it's not like she put in the work to deserve these accomplishments. Chili, you have to work to get these. They don't just hand them out. It's not how that works. I mean, I know you really want to get credit and awards just handed to you, but it's not the way that this works.
UPenn graduate. It goes back to Horace, UPenn graduate. These people are all in it together. These folks are all in it together. Let me get back to Ballotpedia here real quick. So there that is. So, Director Award for Superior Performance as a United States Attorney. International IRS Award again, folks. Raging liberal. These are where the liberals want to just tax us. California, here in California, tax. In recognition of your outstanding contribution to the IRS. Allison D. Burroughs gets awards from the IRS. In 2005, right here, and in 1995, right here. Dedication for us for cash on.
Which, believe it or not, Shelley, you can get recognition and awards in multiple years.
Limited invest. So she's working hand in hand. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that Allison D. Burroughs is working as a statist. If you think she's working for a centralized power to tax us, to use that money against us, or foreign wars all over the country that are not going to benefit.
Well, I mean, it proves that she's working, which is more than any of us can say for you, Chili.
Any of us. Put a 1 in the chat if you think she's a great big cop supporter and a prison supporter. It sounds like she's been locking up people for decades. And then in 94, when Obama came in and appointed her federal judge, now she's the grand poobah. I mean, what do the women call themselves on Instagram now? The boss bitch. That's what they say.
That's not just on Instagram, Chili. And it's a term for strong, opinionated women. Not just Instagram. Again, you screwed it up. Good going.
All over Instagram. That's what they say. So now, right here, Internal Revenues Award, Federal Bureau of Investigations, and appreciated for your prosecutor skills all throughout the years. Federal Bureau of Investigations. Who are you? Remember, 80% of people in federal prison don't belong there. They're convicted on conspiracy charges. Most FBI investigations, FBI cases are based on conspiracy. Chamber and Partners leading U.S. white
Where is he getting his information from?
collar crime and government investigations litigation attorney. Massachusetts super lawyer. This is where she's a super lawyer, Matt. She's a prosecuting super lawyer.
Yeah, but you can't expect him to look up the definition of anything. That would mean he would be able to get it right. And he can't do that.
She's getting money for the IRS, locking people in jail for drugs, approving conspiracy cases for the FBI. She's a super prosecutor. Now she's a fellow litigation of the Council of America. Man, this chick is powerful, man. Super lawyers, top women. Do they have the top men attorneys? I'm just wondering. Super lawyers, top women attorneys in Massachusetts. Super lawyers, business edition. Oh, that's right, because in the opioid case, you can't deal drugs. If you deal drugs, you're going to prison. Let me show you something.
Let me guess, he's going to try to say that this judge, dealt drugs?
Allison D. Burroughs, in this case right here, she ruled. Oh, it blanked out. God bless it. I'll show you on the YouTube channel right here, guys. So when you go back one, and then you go right here, I'm going to show you just a tiny little blurb of this. So you can't deal drugs. Remember, if you deal drugs, you're going to prison. Unless, of course, one of your friends from the team in the Northeast, unless they own the corporation. In a high-profile opioid case, a federal judge has overturned part convictions against executives at Instance Therapeutics, the maker of a liquid fentanyl painkiller caused called Suboxone. U.S. District Attorney Alan D. Burrows ruled that if you're a white-collar drug dealer, Allison will let you out of prison. But if you are just a drug dealer and you're supplying drugs for people who want them from supply and demand, well, then she's going to get awards from the police for locking you in a dungeon.
Again, you screwed it up. The Suboxone is a legal medication at one time to help people. I've heard sometimes it does help people, other times it doesn't. However, you've completely screwed up that analogy by saying she's a drug dealer by supporting pharmaceuticals. There is a difference between street drugs and pharmaceuticals. Whether people use them correctly or not, there's still a difference.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think this woman is a statist. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this woman is a nightmare on our society, because I feel like she is. I feel like she's done nothing but bad so far. I can't even get through it all. Can't even go fast.
Oh, he's hoping people could be free from drug charges because then his would just disappear.
Fast enough. So, super lawyer woman, super lawyer, international global law experts. Oh, wait a minute. So another cop society, the Global Law Experts Award, Business and Crime Lawyer of the Year in Massachusetts. So she's hand in hand with the people who I say are pigs. I don't know how I can get a fair trial in this woman's court. Best lawyers in America. She's the best. Allison's the best. Good for Allison. Good for you, Allison. Sounds like you're having a heck of a career there, Allison.
Allison hurt my feels. She's failing my cases. So, let's just sit here and criticize her over her many, many accomplishments and awards. This is the Chili way.
Sounds like me. Let me make this font a little bit bigger here. Okie dokie. That's Norma. There's Allison. So we're back here. So she's 68. Then we're going to go here. Federal Judges Service. 2014, Barack Obama nominated Burrows to serve as United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts to the seat vacated by Judge Raya W. Zobel.
All he's doing is pointing out that people went in the same group because they went to college in the same college. They work for the same court system. This has nothing to do with your case, Chili, or why you're losing. You're losing because you're a bloody moron.
So I'm not sure if you guys know this, right? But the Republicans and Democrats who are running for representative or senator where you live, it's already predetermined 85% of the time or something like that. It's like 85 or 90%. I think it's they said 4 out of 5 different representatives, be senator or House of Representatives, the seat is already predetermined to a certain type of individual, a liberal or a conservative or this or that. There's about 10 to 20% of the seats that could be won by someone different. And
This is going to be a long stream, not even halfway through, and he's still going on about nothing that is even close to being relevant to his case.
typically that someone different is in that same particular liberal ideology or conservative ideology or Republican wheelhouse or Democrat wheelhouse, where they have a machine there and they've locked out any third party, which I'm creating a new third party. So, because I couldn't run as a Republican or Democrat because they're all in it together.
You're not going to be running as anything, Chili. It's never going to happen.
So, this is who she replaced. She replaced Raya W. Zobel, appointed by Jimmy Carter. So, Jimmy Carter, liberal, appointed this woman right there in 1979, and then Obama put in this woman. There she is. That's the judge in my case. As far as I'm concerned, it sounds like she's from a raging liberal, super north.
I like how thus far he's only doxed the women. He's mentioned the one male, but he hasn't shown pictures or hasn't doxed any of their awards or information. Just the woman who hurt his feels. I'm seeing a pattern here, Chili.
East cliquish government authority, authoritarian power, cop-sucking position, as far as I'm concerned. And so then Raya, who's appointed by Jimmy Carter, then she's replaced by Allison, who's appointed by Barack Obama. Put a 1 in the chat if you think the fix is in. The fix is in. They're going to get their people in power, those Democrats and Republicans, and there's not going to be anything you're going to get to say about it. There's nothing. Let me take a look at the chat here. Put a 1 in the chat. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to get your liberal judge or your conservative judge. And I think, that was the thing. Did you guys know that? And I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of that I know this, that I can, don't let me teach it to you. Let someone else teach it to you.
We have an option A and an option B. Let's complain about only option A and only option B being put into office when there is not yet an option C.
I'm just showing you guys the research that I do because I'm a freaking nutball about learning stuff.
Self-admitted, folks. Complete and total nutball.
So, what I really need to learn is court procedure, huh?
Yes, Chili, we all know you need to learn court procedure. And the fact that you still haven't bothered with all the lawsuits you've filed, it's shocking.
That's what I really need to learn, right? But I don't have 2 seconds, So this is where you can really learn what Trump was doing and what the Republicans have been doing. And look how many views. It's so terrible. The scheme. Sheldon Whitehouse was his name. Sheldon Whitehouse. He's the senator from Delaware, I think, Massachusetts. Anyway, this guy explains how they're running dark money to get. Hey Scrub, is that our guy? No, because our guy's a moderator, so that couldn't be it. Scrub, that couldn't be our guy. Our guy's a moderator on this channel. I can double check on that. So he wouldn't be in the room if he wasn't a moderator. So.
Yep, because you lock everybody with a different opinion out.
It is. It is. It certainly is.
You've even managed to delete your own moderator's girlfriend from time to time.
It certainly is.
All on assumptions, by the way.
So, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be able to get justice from this woman who's a gigantic copsucker from her award.
You're not going to be able to get justice because you're doing it wrong. That's why. Has nothing to do with the judge, her many awards, her many certificates, whether or not she likes cops, whether or not she has any opinion outside of that ruling. You've done it wrong. You cannot make lawsuits because your feels get hurt.
From the award she's winning from the cops and the FBI and the IRS, I don't feel like I'm getting a fair trial here. I don't feel like. Remember, I'm the plaintiff and she keeps on trying to beat me up in court because, from what my perspective, is that she's a giant copsucker and she doesn't like that I hate cops. I don't respect any of them. I don't respect Allison. I don't respect them. I don't respect it.
Personal opinion is just that, Chili. Their personal opinion. It doesn't mean they like or dislike you for it. People have opinions every day. You just gotta get used to it.
I don't have to respect you.
She technically doesn't have to respect you either. She just has to make a fair ruling, which so far she's done.
I'm not forced to respect you because you demand that I respect you because you're from an elite Northeast faction. Come on, you guys can see it. $100,000 a year college, honey? I mean, are you kidding me, babe?
That's all he focuses on, with hints of sexual harassment. That's a good way to go, Chili.
It's a lot of money. God bless you. But you've colluded power to yourselves, and the people want it back.
You want a good education? Expect to pay a hefty price for it in the U.S. That's just how it goes. Maybe it shouldn't really technically be that way, but unfortunately that is the way our colleges work.
And you are a problem in our society because look, is she winning by the FBI and the IRS? And by the way, let me ask you guys a question. When she wins an award from the Secret Service, the IRS...
Well, I mean, we can't expect him to get anything correct. So, I mean, of course his info is wrong.
From the Drug Enforcement Agency, that means she's putting people in prison. That means she's putting people in prison.
Yeah, judges tend to put people in prison, Jilly. How else are they going to learn not to break the law?
That's what that means. She's getting awards for arresting, for prosecuting people and putting them in a dungeon. She didn't go to college in 1965. I'm sorry, she was born in 1961. So that means she would have gone to college in 1980. 1961, 71, 81. She would have gone to college in 1980. I'm about right. So if she went to college in 1980, she paid the... Now, inflation today, I guarantee you, go look at the... Someone can do this, because I'm not going to do it with everybody on the phone, but go look up what... So 1988, V. Boyer, look up what it cost to go to college there in 1988, and then just do inflation gap and put it into the computer, and it'll tell you exactly what it costs, what she paid, what her parents would have paid. And I wonder, you know, what I'd like to ask Allison is, did you have to take out student loans, or did your parents pay for that? And if they did, that's cool. I'm happy for you. I'm not jealous.
Sure you're not, Jilly. Sure you're not. That's why you're focusing so much on the cost of college.
But just understand that you're coming from the wrong perspective. The people, the majority of the people, don't have parents that can pay $100,000 to send their kid to college.
Yeah, and they get a student loan, Jilly, and they work for a living. Something you know nothing of.
They just don't. So that means you're an elitist. If Jimmy Carter appointed the Allison D. Burroughs predecessor, Norma, and Norma was appointed by Jimmy Carter, and then remember this Allison D. Burroughs, she's winning awards from the Secret Service here. She's winning awards from the Secret.
He acts like they give those out like candy bars. You have to work for it, Jilly. They don't just give them.
Service. I mean, why is she winning awards from the Secret Service?
Because she worked for it. Something you could be doing if, you actually educated yourself correctly, instead of picking and choosing what you want to obey out of the law. It's not how the law works, Jilly.
You see? Michael Mahone, why are comments being deleted? People are only deleted if they're a jerk and they call me names, or they come in with a stupid username.
Or they come in with facts that completely hurt your feels. Like maybe educating you the correct laws.
And then they get deleted from the room. Or timed out if they say stupid things.
Like Chili, you're wrong. That would be something he would consider something stupid.
So she's winning. PJC Net just said winning
Hello, Squiddy.
awards from the Secret Service 20, 30 years ago. That's kind of suspect. I mean, I'd like to ask Allison, if I could, what did you win awards from the Secret Service for? How come you're getting awards from the Secret Service? I'm just wondering. Oh, is it Penn University? Did I say UPenn? I'm so sorry, Jeffrey. Remember, I'm a regular old dunce cap. Everything I've learned on my own on the internet.
No, you're the regular dunce. There's a difference. You're not the hat being put on stupid. You are the stupid.
And I struggled to go to college. I took out student loans. I paid back my student loans, so there's that. I did pay back all my student loans. And, but I struggled to go to college. I got a Pell Grant, I think, a couple times. I got a couple Pell Grants. But I didn't have, the backing that I needed to really be able to focus and go to college. And so because of that, I had blown my knee out, and then I was working at Subway in between classes to pay my bills. And I went to college for 5 years, and I almost graduated. But then that last year, I had some personal things happen with emotionally, and it just broke my spirit.
College hurt my feels, so I couldn't go anymore.
And I didn't want to continue anymore, and I just was done with it. I only went to go wrestle. I wanted to wrestle, and I couldn't. My knees weren't good enough, and the guy at my weight was all American. I couldn't beat him with my knee how it was. I got smoked. So I wanted to compete, but I couldn't. So, not whoa me. I'm just saying that's most of us.
That nice pause there was a complete and total whoa you. You always whoa you. That's why you're complaining about the judge right now. It's one big woes you.
That's most people here. That's what I'm saying. Most of y'all have a similar story to me. So it's not woe is me. It's woe is that there's a certain elitist amount of population that gets to go to $100,000 a year schools, and the most of us are, scrapping and
Hello, Tony.
struggling and e-begging. That's me and my friend Tina that we laugh about all the time. I'm e-begging, yes! But,
Oh, here we go with the cringe.
just so you guys know, I successfully e-begged over $20,000 for people this year. What was it, 40,000 or 20,000? But we successfully raised, I think we're at 40 grand. Didn't know what I said the other day? Because I calculated it all up. We've raised over 40 grand for people this year. And of that 40 grand, almost $3,000 I did raise for myself. So I raised about 8% of the money. About 8% of the money that I raised this year went to my pocket. And then I donated $5,000 this year.
And we all know that's not true. We've seen these live streams.
From my
Quote unquote from Chile. You donate $10 and I take $5 for taxes.
online store. In the past year that I've been on YouTube. So those are the numbers. And I'll publish them all. I just haven't done anything yet. But so the New England Organized Crime Outstanding Work Conduct. So this last word in this paragraph, who do you think that applies to? Do you think that applies to the Allison D. Burroughs crowd with Norma and Raya?
Oh, because they went to the same state. They probably lived there. That's more of a reasonable thought.
Up there who are getting appointed by Jimmy Carter and Obama? This last word here, who do you think this last word applies to? I'm going to show you guys something. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this applies to you, the people. Right here. 1997, New England Organized Crime in appreciation of the work conducted on Operation Crackdown. Operation Crackdown. Who do you think that crackdown was on? Put a 1 in the chat.
Oh, I don't know, Chili. Perhaps the criminals that she put where they belong? That's kind of common sense.
If you think the crackdown was for you, put a 1 in the chat if you think that crackdown is on the people. Nobody likes drunk driving, right? Nobody likes, seeing people get hurt and killed from drunk driving, right?
Nobody likes watching you live stream while you drive either, Chili.
Put a 1 in the chat if drunk driving is the worst it's ever been in the history of drunk driving. Put a 1 in the chat if drunk driving is the worst it's ever been in the history of drunk driving. Put a 1 in the chat. It's the worst it's ever been. Right.
So is distracted driving and driving under the influence of, oh, I don't know, said painkillers?
Right? And so, MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, is going to happen right after the 1990. I'm sorry. So, Mothers Against Drunk Driving is going to start in 1980, and then they're going to press to get roadblocks put in, and then in the 1990 case of SITZ versus Michigan State Police, SITZ versus Michigan State Police. This is where SITZ sues because they set up a Nazi checkpoint in the United States of America. And in SITZ versus the United States, SITZ versus Michigan State Police, SITZ initially loses the case in state court. And
Look at him try to pull from the back recesses of, oh, I don't know what's up there. It's certainly not a brain.
then it goes to the federal court, and the federal court rules that.
He's got that jar of Nutella bouncing around up there.
So the whole thing is reasonableness. It's the reasonable standard. The Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. So that first part of the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable searches and seizures, the SITZ case, when it goes to court, the entire precedent of the case is based on the word reasonableness. And so what happens in the Sitz case, he loses in state court, it goes to federal court, and the federal judges say it's completely unreasonable to line up drivers in the United States of America to search their cars. It is a gigantic intrusion into your Fourth Amendment. It's beyond reasonable. Well, of course, because of Penn U people and the people who are all colluded, not all Penn U people, sorry Penn U people, I'm just going off on Allison, I apologize to you.
He's going off on everybody, like he usually does.
Guys, because of the collusion of power within super elite organizations, fraternities, sororities, and such, then what happens is when the Michigan State Police prosecutor appeals for certiorari to the Supreme Court, what happens is they then overrule the federal court and say that it's very reasonable for the police to stop you in a Nazi checkpoint to ask you the question if you've been drinking or not.
And again, calling it a Nazi checkpoint has nothing to do with an actual DUI stop. It has nothing to do with it. They are checking for drunk drivers for the safety and well-being of all the other drivers on the road. Something you don't take into account when you're streaming while driving.
It happened in 1990. It's not too late to reverse it. We can stop this bullshit. But you have to know the case law, and then we have to change the system because, you know, there's something I gotta tell you guys. There's something I gotta tell you guys. And I want to.
Night, Squiddy.
This is hard to say. It's hard to say that when you think you were wrong. I think I was wrong. I don't think that suing every cop in America is going to work. I think the system has to be changed. I think a majority of the people have to say this system sucks and we want to change it. And we all want to change it, and here's the changes that we want. And that's where it gets sticky, because the number two reasons, the top two reasons why people don't change is because number one, they don't know what that change is. And then number two, they don't feel like they're a part of that change from the information
Oh yeah, he's tripped over several lines of thinking.
I've been gathering from podcasts and the internet. So the 1990 case of Sitz versus Michigan State Police, collectively, we can all just say we don't want Nazi checkpoints in America anymore. We don't want to call them DUI checkpoints or driver's license checkpoints or immigration checkpoints. We don't want any of those in the United States of America. You're welcome to have immigration checkpoint on the border. But I think the immigration checkpoint in New Mexico is about 20 miles north of the border. And I don't understand why there's an immigration checkpoint in the United States of America. Once you're here, you're here. It sucks. Sucks if we can't get that person citizenship, because then they can be a paying member to society and contributor to society. Instead of sending all their money back to the country that they came from, they can establish a bank account here and then establish a house and make their house become their bank, and they can eventually grow into prosperity and live the American dream. So
There's checkpoints because too much of an influx would cause a serious problem. For one. Two, to make sure everybody is here legally. Whether or not you feel that it is correct or not, that is the way things are. There are several steps that you have to take to become a citizen or green card holder, or even your work visa. It doesn't mean that it is bad or good. You cannot just take up residence and possibly hurt people. Everybody has to be documented. What if, say, a serial killer came in, took up residence illegally, nobody knew he's here, just continues serial killing? This is stuff they want to know. And by any means, I am not saying that illegals are serial killers. It is just a what if scenario. But they want to know how many people, for whatever reason they have, and they're trying to keep the general public safe.
So
Night, Oleg.
yeah. So I believe that I was wrong in the assessment that
Oh my goodness. Hell just froze over. He actually admitted he was wrong about something.
just suing the government is going to help us. I think that there has to be an overwhelming swell of people that say, I want to change the system and here's how I want to change it. And so that's what I'm doing right now. You guys don't know what I'm doing. I can't really tell anybody. But there's a few people in this room who know what I'm doing. But I'm creating a way to change the system where people will be able to say, That's my idea. I think we should change it like that. That's what I'm doing. And you guys don't even know it, but it's going on right now. So,
But you're getting it all wrong, Chili.
so anyway, let me turn the comments on real quick. Okay, there you are. There you are. Oh, what's going on, Archangel for Truth? Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Oleg. A huge shout out to Oleg Welch for being over here tonight.
So it sounds to me, but let's keep going. Oh, let's keep going. So down here, associations. 2007 to, let me turn the comments off so I can read this here. 2007 to present, Woman Aid Boston, Vice President. So what is Woman Aid Boston? What is that?
It has to do with a woman, Chili. Many women. So you would not know what it has anything to do with. I'm guessing he's going to Google it, make an assumption, and still screw it up.
Those are her Senate questions. Woman Aid Boston. Woman Aid. Is there a Man-Aid? A Man-Aid Boston? Is there a Man-Aid Boston? I'm not sure if there is.
Yeah, Chili, there's a man-aid. Oh. Men had it easier back in the day. More men actually were appointed than women. As a woman collective giving circle, Women Aid Boston supports nonprofit organizations in the greater Boston area that improve the lives of undeserved women and teen girls. Are you that threatened that there's a woman support group that helps women?
As Women Collective Giving Circle, Women Boston supports nonprofit organizations in the greater Boston area that improve the lives of underserved women and teens, which I agree with this, by the way. I think we should provide both birth control and women's needs every month to every single woman in this country. And I don't think...
Really, Chili? That's where you took it? What about supplying birth control to every man, too? Make it equal. Why does it always have to be the woman's responsibility?
You should just be able to go and get it. I'm all for this, actually, so I can't really hack it. I'm all for it. There's so many women in this country who don't have access to birth control and don't have access to women's needs.
That has nothing to... Oh my goodness.
So I'm 100% for this. I hope they do this. I hope they do well.
Why does his mind immediately go to birth control? Does it say they're giving out birth control? No, it does not, Chili.
Wish you guys luck. So this was, there's no Man-Aid because men don't need birth control and they don't need,
Wow. Last time I checked, it took a man and a woman to conceive. So yes, men in fact do need birth control, Chili. Again, nothing but bullshit coming out your mouth.
I get it now. So impact, let me see what they do. Let's see, any more information on this?
Just keep showing how racist and sexist you are.
Cool, stay in touch. I don't know what it is, get involved. Current grantees, past grantees. Oh, I don't know what this is. Let me see what this is about. Why women and girls. Okay, so this is the richest country in the, yeah, we know this. I mean, Allison certainly knows this. She's going to those schools. And it's ranked one of the lowest in developed nations on measurements of women's economic security, health, and well-being. This is true, by the way, that we don't provide enough access for women's birth control or their reproductive,
Stop talking about a woman's reproductive issues. You know nothing about it, Chili.
monthly needs. This means that American women bear a significant disproportionate burden of poverty. Guys are suffering too, but this is the part I'm talking about. It's hard all over, just so you know. It's hard all over. So, In the United States, women without a high school diploma have 90% chance of raising children in poverty. Women who, you know, some of these things are true, but it's sometimes I feel like it's gone just like where, you know, sometimes it just goes a little bit where we just kind of stop forgetting about our young boys and men. And
No one has forgotten about the boys and men, Chili. Just because there's a women's support group that supports women and teen girls does not mean we've forgotten about the men. It is proven that men have an easier time in the workplace.
and so I don't want to do that, you know. So she's involved with something where working women are paid 80% of what men are. That's, you know, for Allison, who is the federal district judge, she wants to be in charge. She wants to be the boss. When they did studies and asked women what they wanted to do, a majority of them, just so you know, one of my cousins is the boss of one of the biggest industries in the world, and she's the boss. Like she was the boss of everybody. She was the boss of her husband. She was the boss. So there's some women like my cousin who want to be the boss, like Allison D. Burroughs. But when they did a study on it, they found that most women didn't want to be the boss. And a lot of those reasons were so that they could check out if they had kids. And then also because they didn't want to be in charge.
Again, very untrue. There are plenty of women bosses out there. The problem is majority of women can't get adequate time for maternity care, and the woman is needed. We are both the nutritional value of the babies and the birther of the babies.
Remember, this women being in the workplace, we're less than we're 60 years into it, 100 years into it, the most. You can listen to JP about this. He talks about it in pretty great detail. But so that's
Many women have even advocated for men's maternal leave. So yeah, it's pretty equal in that area. We just don't get the maternity leave that we are needed. Some maternity leaves, I know, are about like a week long after you've had a baby. And believe me, that's being gracious for some companies. Some are only a few days. It's very hard to recover in that little bit of a time after having a baby, whether it's C-section or natural. It's not easy, Chili. You'd never know a thing about it, though.
what she does here. Let's keep going down the list and see what else she does here. What other groups she's a part of. But I mean, as far as that group, Women Aid, I support that 100% if we're talking about birth control and reproductive needs, because with being paid a fair wage, it's not just women in this country who are not being paid a fair wage. It's 90% of this country who's not being paid a fair wage, and that's going to go back to the 1937 case of
Pulling percentages out of his ass again.
West Coast Hotel versus, is it West Coast Hotel versus the United States, would set the standard for minimum wage. Let me turn the chat on. Someone will correct my. What was that? Can someone tell me that exact case? Was it West Coast Hotel versus West Coast Hotel versus was it the United States? Was it West
I smell an awful lot burning. I think you're trying too hard, Chili.
Coast Hotel versus, it set the standard for minimum wage. It's gonna bug me. It's gonna bug me. I don't think so, dude. I mean, I don't think so. And I wish we had gotten rid of all the trolls, but we haven't. They continue. As long as I continue to sue troll farms, I'll continue to have trolls. I just don't want to talk about them. I want to. Is it Parrish? Thank you. West Coast Hotel versus Parrish. I knew I was wrong on that. Thank you, Ace. I really appreciate that.
You're wrong on a whole lot, Chili. A whole lot.
So, in 1937, in West Coast Hotel versus Parrish, that set the standard for a minimum wage. And just so you guys know, we should never ever have fought for a minimum wage. And I get this from the Professor Jack Rakove from Stanford University. I listen to all his lectures, and his words exactly are that we should have fought for the value of the labor being imparted, so that, you know, if you work at that McDonald's on the corner, that McDonald's might make $1 million, $2 million a year, but you're still being paid minimum wage because you can just you can just pump a ketchup thing or warm the buns up or cook a burger.
Okay, minimum wage was originally stated so that you couldn't be underpaid. Even though because of inflation and the cost of living, people are still being underpaid. That means, say your minimum wage is $11. That means the company can't pay you $5. If there's a minimum, they can't go below that minimum. That's why it was put in place, Jilly.
But the value of the labor being imparted when working in a team creates a gigantic value. And so because of West Coast Hotel versus Parrish, we fought for a minimum wage standard instead of the value of the labor being imparted. And so we screwed ourselves. But remember, we were coming. So 1937 is gonna mark the end of the Lochner era. If you don't know, Lochner, Lochner era, and it's called the Lochner era from 1897 to 1937. Is it 1937 or was it 1938? But I'm real close right there. So the Lochner era in that time period of history is where you think it's bad now. That's when the Supreme Court, the white supremacy Supreme Court, because we've had a racist Supreme Court since the very beginning. So that's when the white supremacy Supreme Court had 40 years of pure tyranny. Remember, with the 17th Amendment in 1937, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 19. It's gonna bug me. I have so much data in my head, I can't keep it all.
I want to touch that one, but I'm not going to. Because nothing in his head is correct.
It was 1912. So it was the 17th Amendment in 1912. So let me kind of break this down a little bit for you guys, and I'm going to put this on a timeline, and I'm going to teach it to you in the next few months here. But I want you guys to understand something here. So she's doing Woman Aid to try to get more money for women who only make 80% of the wages of men, and I pushed back on that, and I said that, well, men don't make any money either because of West Coast Hotel versus Parrish, the 1937 or 1938 case that created the minimum wage standard.
So he wants to say that women don't deserve the same rights as men. And that is exactly what he's saying.
So the reason why we were so happy to fight for minimum wages because 1897 to 1937, about 40 years, was called the Lochner era. And in the Lochner era, what they did is the senators, the United States senators, they were working in collusion with big business in each of their states. So in 1912, the 17th Amendment, it was 1913 actually, just so you know, because this says 1912, but it's incorrect. The 17th Amendment was passed in 1913. So when the 17th Amendment passes, it changes that the House of Representatives will appoint senators. Because it used to be that you voted for your House of Representatives, and then your House of Representatives in Alabama would then appoint the senators for Alabama. Well, what was happening in Alabama and every other state is that the senators were colluding with big business and giving all the breaks to big business. And then when the little man would fight and take his case to the court, all the way up to the Supreme Court, you get the 1905 case of New York versus Lochner. And the reason why that era is called the Lochner era is because if you read Lochner versus New York from the 1905 case, what you will find is that it is the most egregious, disgusting ruling against the people, maybe in the history. Well, I mean, you do have Dred Scott in 1857, which is going to say that black folks are property. But when you're talking about the late
Just had to go there, didn't you, Jilly? Just had to go there.
labor and getting to that minimum wage, you're talking about Lochner versus New York 1905. If you have not read that holding, I strongly recommend you look up 1905, Lochner versus New York. And so that time period of history from 1897 to 1937, it was 1936? Anyway.
Not a single one of this stream has anything to do with why he's losing his cases. None.
So that period of history is defined as the Lochner era because all the breaks. And so then in 1913, because it was going so poorly, the United States people passed an amendment that senators would be elected. And that broke what the Constitution said. That changed the constitutional standards to a new constitutional standard, that we would elect those senators. And so that happens in 1913. The Lochner era continues to go on until 1937, 1936, because you're going to have the 1938 case, because it's the 1938 case of Caroline Products, Carolene, Caroline Products versus the United States, and that's going to be 1938. And what that's going to say is that the courts can give a monopoly to anybody they want, including the dairy industry.
And this has to do with why your feels were hurt and you're losing your case? How?
You're going to get out of that Caroline Products case is called strict scrutiny. And they're going to take strict scrutiny away from that case. But what I took away from the case is that the federal government, when you get to the highest levels of government, they will work in collusion with the government, even though we changed the Constitution to elect senators in 1913. But the Supreme Court in Caroline Products is going to give the milk industry a monopoly. So in West Coast hotels versus Parrish, that's the fight for minimum wage. And so the people were just happy to get a minimum wage. I'm not going to go into the Lochner case, but if you read the Lochner case, you'll understand.
They were happy to get a minimum wage because they were suffering, being improperly paid, not being able to live on what little they were given, and that is why the minimum was put into place. So they could not be paid below that.
Understand why. And all this stuff is better on a timeline, so I'll put it on a timeline. I'm going to teach it all again, but I want to keep going on Allison here because I was here. I wanted to make sure that the year. See, it says 1912 here, but that's incorrect. It's 1913. So she's an investor in Mahoning Valley Scrappers. Does anybody know what that is? What is Mahoning Valley Scrappers? Does anybody know what that is? Oh, would you take a look at this? She's the class agent of Middlebury College. Oh my, what was I saying earlier? That she's the class secretary. Allison, you're connected. Allison D. Burrows is connected, man. She's got people. Makes a phone call, and someone's got a friend over there in this part of the world, and they can help her out and do this. They're all in it together. It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Isn't that what you do, Chili? When you want help and finances, you call around and get help and finances? I mean, granted, there's a difference between a paid judge and a grifter, but essentially you're doing the same thing.
Oh, man. So, what I tell you guys, there it is. She's the class secretary. This is a $100,000 a year college. They have a $1.5 billion endowment. Allison's got some power. Allison's a pretty powerful lady. Sorry. So then we go down here. Trustee and board member of Agassiz Village. Government committee. Board president. Development and events committee. Man, I think I'm alpha. Man, this chick is alpha. Allison D. Burrows is an alpha.
And you still have no idea what an alpha is, Chili. And you never will.
Alpha female. She is an alpha. It's a summer camp. It's a summer camp. God bless you, sir. Thank you for it. Oh, Paul Chavez Jr. Oh my God. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. I'm going to put it on the community page, and I want to come back and revisit this.
Yep, let's dock some more info. Because it's all we do, right, Chili?
Hey, can you send me an email? We'll take a look at that, man. We'll take a look at that. I'm taking the screenshots. I'm going to get back to you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Everybody, if you would pop his name into Google. But I'm gonna do a deep dive on him. Good to see you, Microsoft Teams. Oh yeah. So Microsoft Teams said that the war on drugs had zero effect on drug trafficking. Actually, if you read the 1994 Mullen Commission, and if you take a look at the
Again, pushing that Mullen Commission that nobody read, including your own moderators and friends.
1972 NAP Commission, both of those are available on my website for free. You can download those, and what Microsoft Teams just said was that the war on drugs had zero to do with trafficking. When you read those two commissions, you know what you find out is that the FBI and the cops were the biggest drug traffickers in the world. Not just in America, in the entire world. The cops, the FBI, the DEA have been running drugs all around the entire world. They are the biggest drug runners. They are the biggest drug dealers. The DEA is the biggest drug dealing pimped out organization in the entire world. The police are running the drugs. You can read that in the Knapp Commission of '72. You can read that in the Mullen Commission of 1994, which are available on my website for free. What's going on, my friend? How are you? I'm on the live. I got 250 people in here, so how you doing? No, it's okay. Love you guys. I was just spouting off some data that you sent me, so let me get back to it. Jump in the live and say hello, and I'll point you out, okay? Love you guys. Thanks for calling me. Bye. So, but now, hold on a minute. I don't want to get sidetracked here. Remember, we're focusing on what Allison does, because I have the right to look up who is the one that
Pardon my character here. I have no idea what she's doing.
I feel is being very unfair and unjust, because I said and I continue to say she's a cop sucker.
So because she has awards from her job, went to a summer camp, who, may I add, half those people that probably either run it or are there today probably don't know who she was.
Let's take a look at this. Aziz Village.
So we are going to dox a summer camp because the judge that told you you're doing it wrong went to at some point in time in her life. What does this have to do with your case and why you're losing, Jilly? Let's go into that, shall we?
Summer camp. Okay, there it is. Aziz Village is a non-profit that provides opportunities for children in underserving communities from Massachusetts to Maine. Oh man. So, but okay. So the person who just wrote that, that's nice, but you have to look a little bit deeper. You have to look a little bit deeper. You have let me do a little investigation. Let me just.
Yeah, let's investigate non-relevant things because that's what I do. Isn't that right, Jilly?
Take a look. So, this is in Portland, Maine. Here it is. Let me find out the price of this place. Is it totally nonprofit or is it just for underprivileged kids? Let's see. Cost. Registration to attend. Our goal is to ensure that every child. I mean, she's the leader of it. It's a nonprofit, so.
I think we are going to end this here for today. I still have quite a bit to go, so there will be a part 2 upcoming sometime soon. I want to give a shout out to Oleg Welch for showing up here tonight, and Akira, the co-host. I want to give a shout out to Magistite Server, a very fun, interesting place to play. You should go over and check it out for you Minecrafters. Oh, absolutely, Oleg. We can collab that. So I'm going to bid you good night and have a pleasant one, fans. I will see you soon for part 2.